Hi, my name is Nicole Johnson. I'm here to talk about why I think all teens should have life skills classes in high school. This was my complex problem that I focused on this semester in EGS 301. So my concern is that many teens are not gaining the skills they need to become responsible young adults. These skills include things that we would call adulting. Um, they include financial literacy, cooking healthy meals, proper cleaning of your living space, applying for jobs, apartments, credit cards, car loans, etc. So I do believe that students do learn a range of skills throughout school, but often not the ones that will help them become responsible young adults. Some required skills that they do learn in school are helpful, but in all honesty, irrelevant to most students, such as high-level math courses, required art classes for students who don't enjoy art, or any class that focuses on memorization for tests instead of actually learning the curriculum. A lot of middle schools and high schools do offer life skills classes, but often they're not substantial enough, or they remain optional, which is not really helpful if the kids don't pick to take the classes. For example, a cooking class may not focus on nutritious cooking, and students may just spend their time baking cookies. Or schools may teach students how to apply to college, but not how to apply to jobs. And by doing this, they're not really focusing on students who would rather go straight into the workforce instead of going to college. When I was in high school, I did take a required economics course, but it did not focus on personal finances and it only lasted one semester. So I kind of walked out of there not really thinking I had the financial literacy to become an adult, which would have been really helpful for me personally. So why isn't what we're already doing enough? It's important that we're making sure students are gaining the skills they need to become functioning independent adults and contributing members to society. It would help young adults to adapt to new environments without anxiety, and it could brighten the future of our economy and our country. These days, young adults are often continuing to rely on their parents financially well into adulthood. This puts strain on the parents, especially if they were not planning on having to take care of their child for that length of time. Financial illiteracy can negatively affect a person's life far into adulthood and have serious consequences. If we teach our children at a young age how to manage money and complete basic tasks, it won't seem as intimidating to them in the future. And they'll develop good habits into adulthood, they'll be confident about it, and will lessen that anxiety. So how do we solve this problem? My solution would be that all public and private high schools have required life skills classes for all students that cover the topics I mentioned. I understand that funding for education is often scarce, especially for public schools, but this issue should be prioritized over some other high school programs because it will definitely benefit each community and the country as a whole. For examples of required classes that I would like to see in high schools are a financial literacy course or money management course that lasts at least one full school year, possibly two in the junior or senior year. This detailed course would go over things like budgeting, filing taxes, applying for loans, insurance, starting a small business, investing in the stock market, building a good savings, and saving for retirement as well. Another class that I would like to see is healthy cooking. Preferably, we would have these at 2 levels, basic and advanced, that each last a semester. These classes would focus on preparing meals with high nutritional value, food safety, productive grocery shopping, proper use of kitchen appliances, and following recipes. The third class I would like to see is clean living. This would be a cleaning class that focuses on how to clean your living space properly. And it would cover everything from chemical safety to doing laundry, cleaning the bathroom and kitchen effectively, removing stains from clothes and carpets and other materials, Ideally, this class would have models of items such as toilets and bathtubs for students to get hands-on practice. They could also use the school's cooking appliances to practice cleaning if we had those cooking classes. I would also like to see a post-secondary prep course that really focuses on what students are going to do after they leave high school. Preferably this would be in the junior year, and it would last one semester. There would be two different varieties of this class, one for students who plan to go right to college, and one for students who plan to go right into the workforce or the military. In the college-bound class, students would focus on creating college applications and essays, applying to scholarships, studying for the SAT or ACT, and applying for work-study jobs and housing when they get to college. In the vocational class, students would prepare to go right into the workforce by choosing a career path, focusing on getting apprenticeships, applying to jobs in housing and stuff like that. So where would the money come from? Because I know this is a big issue. Often we don't have enough funding as it is for education. So how can we expect to add a whole other program to schools across the country? So as I mentioned before, this cannot come without financial cooperation from the government and communities surrounding each school. Everyone would have to pitch in, basically. Additional funding would be needed for equipment, class materials, developing lesson plans, and teacher salaries. So here is what I would suggest for us to make this goal a reality. I would like to see the federal and state governments allocating more money to the public education system. And that means we have to elect officials who value education enough to follow through on these plans. Local communities would have to be convinced to slightly raise taxes, which is a difficult task sometimes, but we would have to pass more school levies to get the schools more funding. Private schools would have to charge more in tuition. School budgets would have to be reassessed and shuffled around. Less money to overfunded programs such as maybe sports. A lot of sports programs in schools are overfunded, and a lot of the other programs in those schools don't have enough money to go around. Schools could individually put on big fundraisers like raffles, carnivals, talent shows, craft fairs, bake sales, dances, anything that could bring in money that the schools and the students and faculty would have a lot of fun doing. So I'm aware that some of these would be very unpopular decisions, but life skills classes would be worth it because they would contribute directly to the students' futures, and finding the money anywhere would definitely be a worthy cause. So I believe it's on all of us to make sure that students are learning these basic life skills. Educators, parents, the community, and students all have a role in determining whether we can pull off a task such as this and make this solution possible. Having been through the anxiety of growing up myself and experiencing the disappointment of being unable to be independent at a certain age, I definitely would have appreciated having to take classes like these in high school. I would have benefited immensely from learning how to do all of these things, and I would have been much more confident with my transition to responsibly living by myself. Even as an adult, I still feel there are some things I don't know how to do. I know that other adults feel the same way, so that's why I'm adamant that we need a viable solution to this problem for all young adults. Having a foundation on the topic of life skills will increase a young adult's overall quality of life. Society would even probably be more productive if all students gained independence around age 18 or 20. Students may go through these classes begrudgingly, and some may also enjoy it, but in either case, they'll definitely appreciate that they learned to do these things early on, and society as a whole will benefit from our efforts, and our country may even become stronger economically. Here are all of my sources. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your attention on this topic because it's something that's very important to me. Thank you.